everywhere has something also for us to revere. That's why the indigenous peoples would normally produce some psychic, citizens who can see things. They can see which mountain has light, has deities, has reverence for God, or a shrine, or a palace that has been built to revere some or one of the masters or some saints and sages who benefit humanity, who have passed by, live there some days or sometimes. We can never, be grateful enough. That's why when, some people invaded the Virgin America long hundreds of years ago, many American Indian people want them not to destroy this place, not to develop that area, not to, ruin that mountain, because they say those areas are sacred. It was true like that. I know it on myself too. Because sometimes if a true master or a big saint, stayed there or continued to reside there or left already, the environmental deities, the local deities or nearby deities would come together, use their power to build a palace for worship, for loving, peaceful worship. That's what they call it, okay? The exact words they put up like this: to build a loving, peaceful place of worship for that saint or sages or masters, which they know are a benefactor for the land and worthy of their reverence. I know that myself, because even as humble a being as I am, as I usually like to stay on islands. So sometimes I bought some islands, or sometimes I bought a piece of land for you to meditate. For example, like in Newland Ashram, we have a small island, but it's not small. In the spiritual dimension, it could be huge, very huge. So they even built, a palace there to worship Master Qinghai. Yes. And it normally would be in the air around 9-10 meters above whatever existing surface, either ground or a roof of something, like a roof of a cave or roof of a house. If the master's not there, they will begin to build a palace with gold, diamonds, jewelries, that, I quote, I quote the words of the reporting deity that world has never seen before. Gold jewels that the world has never seen before. That's the quote of the report to me. Yes, about some of my palaces that they built. Even some so-called island, but it's just, in a small lake. And it's a very small island, but they could also build a palace on top of it. After I left, it was about 9 meters above the ground. But that palace can also be moved higher or lower accordingly. Yeah. And it's about 70 meters high and 90 meters wide. And also round, like some kind of circumference. It's studded with gold and jewels that are exceptionally beautiful, and on earth, nothing can compare. It's a different kind of gold, different kind of jewels, It's not like the ones that we see, even though the ones we see on earth and wear are also beneficial. The more so if they are designed by heaven through a master or a great saint. Yes. The deities just do it, nobody asks them to. I never knew they did until, later on, when something happened there. And then I would ask, some local deity gods, why did such a thing happen? Then they would explain to me, because so-and-so person came to your island you inhabited before and disturbed the peace and construction of the offering deities. That is their words, not mine. So these are all their words, yeah? Offering deities. I never used those words. I never knew such words existed until after I knew about that report. Yeah, so-and-so person came and disturbed their peace, the peace of the offering deities. Because I left already. I'm not there anymore. So I asked, well, what did they do to disturb them? And they say because he came in and brought in not pure energies into their building area, where they are building a palace of worship for you. That's how I knew about it. In that tiny island, there was just a single person tent. I put up near the hatching swan. Person stay there for just some months. And long after I left, a non-resident removed it already. But the deities still count that I inhabited there before and built a palace of worship. In one place, there were some initiates who went there to feed birds, swans, or other animals, people, as per my instruction, after I left that place. So even such a humble one like I am, and still alive here, they still, offer such reverence like that. It takes at least half a year to finish that kind of palace, and you won't see it with your physical eyes. But if you meditate well, maybe you can see it. Or if you're sincere, maybe they will let you see it. Not everybody can see this kind of palace. So people would not believe that such things as a palace of worship in the air really exists for any master or any saints and sages. So over all these centuries, or thousands of years of time, can you imagine how many palaces like that have been built on earth in remembrance and worship of the masters that have come and that have graced our planet and that have left us physically? These worshipping palaces help to naturally stabilize the surrounding, bless the atmosphere and all beings nearby. And by the way, one day while traveling, I wanted to rid myself of all the house keys, ashram keys or related remote controls, etc. But heaven told me to keep them for the same beneficial purpose. So all the temples and the churches that we built are nothing of physical value compared to the palaces that the deities, the goddesses, have built for those masters. So it doesn't matter that when they leave, they have magnificent temples or not, they always have. As they moved from one area to another, their palaces will be multiplied all the time. Everywhere they pass, the deities around that local area or nearby would come together, use their power and build such palaces for the master in gratitude, in memory of, and in worship, just for all the world to know, in the invisible world. We, in the physical and visible world, hardly know about that and hardly can tell. So if you go somewhere and see the native people say, please don't disturb that area, this area, it could be because they know the sacredness of certain place. So please just respectfully listen. Formally, because humans relied only on their physical power, guns and knives and stuff like that, we sometimes took away the lands of the native people and offended the goddesses by taking up their abode, their worshipping temples and all that. And then we receive bad luck and tragedy upon ourselves just because we're ignorant. We cannot see what the natives, psychics see. In every indigenous nation or community, there is someone who knows about nature, who can see beyond physical obstruction and see things that normal people cannot see. But because of ignorance, many with strong physical weapons and force would come and, force the natives away from their land, from their worship area, from the sacred, mountains, fields, hills, and forests, thinking that these people are stupid or superstitious or know nothing of science. But many things science can never explain anyway. Even nowadays, with a lot of high tech, many phenomena have been recorded in the air or in the sea and in forests or on mountains somewhere that science cannot explain. Not to talk about the things that cameras cannot capture. Normal eyes cannot see. Normal hands and cannot touch. Feet cannot go through, for example, like that. So please, I remind you, well, we talk about that many times already, but I remind you again, please, every step you walk on earth, be thankful, be respectful. Then you will have less trouble and disaster in your life.